Alternating series test, let a sub n be positive. The alternating series, the sum from 1 to infinity of negative 1 to the n times a sub n, and also the infinite series, the sum of 1 to infinity of negative 1 to the n plus 1 times a sub n, converge when these two conditions are met. This a sub n will remain the same. This is to account for different starting points in the series, but the two conditions that need to be met is the a sub n term, the one without the alternating signs, that needs to have a limit of 0 as n gets infinitely large. And also part 2, the terms need to decrease. So let me include that. I guess I just left off the number 2, and that will go right here. Those are the two conditions. All right, let's jump right into the examples. Let's take the series, the infinite sum from 1 to infinity of negative 1 to the n plus 1 times 1 over n. This converges, even though we have seen times where the sum from 1 to infinity of just 1 over n diverges because it's a harmonic series. Turns out, if it has alternating signs, it converges. Here's why. This is your a sub n term, and its limit goes to 0. That's condition 1. Condition 2 is 1 over n plus 1 is greater than 1 over n plus 1. Let me say that again. 1 over n is greater than 1 over n plus 1, which means the terms are decreasing. And we know that intuitively. As you let your denominators get larger and larger, the value overall gets smaller and smaller. This example is called an alternating harmonic series. Alternating harmonic. This one converges. Well, we're going to revisit that. The next example, we're going to take the sum from 1 to infinity of negative 1 to the n times 3n over 4n minus 1. 3n over 4n minus 1 is your a sub n term. As n goes to infinity, that a sub n term has a limit of 3/4, not 0. You don't have to even check the second part. If you fail the first, you don't have to check the second. So this is a divergent series. A series, and if I don't put an index or an infinity, this is understood to be an infinite series. A series, a sub n, is absolutely convergent when you take the absolute value of your a sub n term, and that converges. Number 2, a series is conditionally convergent when the series converges, but taking the absolute value makes it diverge. And then finally 3, if an infinite series, a sub n, is absolutely convergent, then it just is convergent. Let's investigate some examples. The sum from 1 to infinity of negative 1 to the n minus 1 over n squared. This is absolutely convergent because if I take the absolute value, it gets rid of the alternating signs. It's always positive 1. And we know that by p-series, this is a convergent p-series. So let's go back up to number 1. This series is absolutely convergent because the absolute value of your a sub n is convergent. Second example, we're going to revisit the alternating harmonic series. The sum from 1 to infinity of negative 1 to the n minus 1 over n. That's conditionally convergent. This term as is without the absolute value is convergent because we just saw that on the previous page. It's convergent by alternating harmonic series test. But if we take the absolute value, that gets rid of the alternating signs and turns it into a harmonic series. And we've seen that you can either look at it as a P series with P equals 1, that makes it divergent, or you could actually apply the integral test and you don't get a finite limit value at the end. So, long story short, as written, the series converges. When you absolute value, it no longer converges. And that's what property 2 up here means. That's the second part of a theorem. The third property from the first part, it's actually a theorem, to be honest with you. It's called absolute convergence, property 3. If we take the infinite sum from 1 to infinity of cosine n over n squared, this one is absolutely convergent because if you take the absolute value, and in part using squeeze theorem, but we know that the absolute value for cosine of n has to max out at 1 due to its amplitude. So we can claim that the absolute value of this fraction is less than or equal to 1 over n squared. Now, 1 over n squared is a convergent P series, P equals 2, and so we can say absolute convergence. If the series is absolutely convergent, then the series without the absolute values is convergent as well. You could also verify using direct comparison test, where you have cosine n over n squared as your a sub n term, and then compare that to 1 over n squared. This fraction converges by P series. It's larger than this fraction, so by direct comparison, the smaller one must converge also. Let's look at one more example. The sum from 1 to infinity of negative 1 to the n over square root of n. This converges by alternating series test. The a sub n term is 1 over square root of n. As n gets large, that fraction gets small and approaches 0. So we do have the limit equals 0. The square root of n plus 1 is going to make this fraction smaller than just taking the square root of n. Property 2 is satisfied. However, if you take the absolute value of the original problem, you get rid of your alternating sign, and that makes it the sum from 1 to infinity of just 1 over n, 1 over square root of n, no alternating signs. This diverges because it's a P series with P equals a half. So you have to really watch these problems. I hope this video helps you out. If you need to swing by the office for more help, that's totally fine. Ask in class, send an email, give me a call, and I will do my best to help you out.